Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto absorbs Kaguya, time travel, part 2, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, let's start the story. 3 hours after the Nine Tails attack. Hokage Tower, Council Meeting Chamber. The reinstated third Hokage Sarutobi hears in relationship level 3709. Adoptive grandfather was preparing to address the full gathered council. He had prepared for this meeting with the single purpose of fulfilling his successor's request of ensuring that his son was seen as a hero and properly raised and protected. Members of the council, as you can see, we have been attacked by the nine-tailed fox. The death totals are high, but fortunately not crippling. The material destruction will take years and the majority of our budget, but the greatest loss is the death of my successor, the fourth Hokage. He was able to stop the beast at the cost of his own life, sealing it inside this newborn. At this, the newly reinstated third Hokage placed the bundled Naruto on the table in the middle of the three rings, the heads of the important labor and trade guilds on the outermost ring, the heads of minor clans and ninja families in the intermediate ring, and the heads of the great clans in the center with the Hokage and his advisors. But at least we were able to preserve the wisdom of the clan heads. Hiashi Hyuga, what can you tell me about the boy's chakra? Lord Hokage, I am Hiashi, and Hitachi was my father. He retired even before you did. Ahem, right. Sorry. You just look so much like your father. But please, Sir Hyuga, give us the insight of your Byakugan. Relationship level 1230. Profound respect. His chakra is extraordinary. He is just a newborn, but the amount exceeds that of normal genin. The color is a purer blue than I have seen, and it seems to glow. The seal is holding the beast's chakra back, and slowly filtering it into normal blue chakra. The only worrying thing is that the seal contains 9 different colors of chakra. But about the child, who are the parents? He obviously holds a bloodline limit. For a few 10 seconds, far too much attention was focused on the child's appearance and heritage. Last, I didn't think anyone would ask about the parents. I thought they would be too preoccupied with the attack still. He is an orphan, his parents are dead. I'm afraid I can't tell you who they were. Clever man named Hiashi mused. He didn't say that he didn't know, just that he couldn't say. It seems that he knows, and it's too important to say in front of civilians. But who would be the parents important enough to hide from us? Missing nin? Or more likely an endangered clan? Are there any clans that have unusually large chakra supplies? The Senju did, but Tsunade is the only one left, and she wouldn't be having children, of course. That red-haired girl, the Uzumaki. But where did the blonde hair and blue eyes come from? Either Noichi or another Yamanaka had an affair by chakra. That's Minato's kid. The same thought process was working its way through the other clan heads, until they were all derailed by the apathetic sigh of the Naruto troublesome. Such a tragedy that we will never know. The civilian half of the council took the opportunity to put in their lack of thought. It's obvious that the beast doesn't have parents. What demon does? I bet he killed them so no one could tell that he isn't human. His chakra isn't normal, he can't be human. 9 colors of chakra, 9 tails. It's obvious he's just a fox in disguise. We need to kill it now. Be silent. To put it bluntly, Sarutobi was pissed off. Not only was his beloved home city in ruins, his wife dead, his successor was dead, he himself forced to take the hat again, lest someone like Orochimaru take it, and his store of pipe tobacco destroyed. These insufferable civilians had the nerve to disown their savior. They were supposed to be the mundane managers of the city, so the Hokage could focus on ninja issues. Why did they have a say when they know nothing about what they are talking about? They don't deserve to still be alive if that is how they treat the one keeping them safe. Civilians, leave now, and don't tell anyone about this child's status, as the container of the nine-tailed fox. If you do, I will kill you all. Now go, and don't enter here without summons. You can't make us do that. The unofficial leader of the civilian council, the greasy leader of the bankers guild, stepped forwards waving a piece of paper. You see, by order of Decree 20,684, amendment to the creation of the civilian council, the Hokage cannot dismiss the civilian council. The civilian council must get at least 1 vote per member on every issue, and the civilian council has the right to call a full council for any issues that they find that need to be corrected. That law has no authority over the Hokage, and you know it. I am Hokage. It is well within my power to dissolve your civilian council, and to do so against the law of even other cages. Now go, get your ignorant faces out of my sight before I have the Anbu forcibly eject you. Are we not citizens of this village hidden in the leaves? Should we not also have our opinions heard? Why should we labor away for a group of ninjas who won't let our voice be heard in situations that affect us? Why should ninja be above the law that they hold us to? Know this, ninjas, if you continue to scorn us, we will not stay passive. Just remember that, Hokage. With his piece said, the overweight banker fled with his group. Now that the civilians are gone, we can get down to business. We need to decide who and how we are going to take care of little Naruto here. The fourth Hokage said that he wanted the child to be raised as close to normal as possible and be seen as a hero for containing the 9 tails. Will anyone volunteer for this honor? Yugaku Uchiha relationship level 0. Manipulator stood and declared, the Uchiha will take on this responsibility. With the Sharingan we will be able to subdue him if the beast runs out of control. Yashi shouted from his position across the center table. The Hyuga clan objects to this proposal and will take custody of the child. The Byakugan would be a superior prevention tool in the improbable case that the boy loses control. In addition, we have members trained in the sealing arts that would be capable of reinforcing the fourth seal, a skill that the Uchiha lack. The Uchiha clan rejects the Hyuga clan's proposal. The Hyuga clan would be unable to give him a proper education, being so reliant upon their sacred bloodline limit that anyone without those eyes would be largely excluded from their social circles and training. The Uchiha clan, however, would be more than willing and able to train him without our bloodline. So we would be the ones to give him a poor upbringing. This coming from the clan-obsessed fool is more likely to turn the boy into a mindless weapon than raise him. We would turn him into a mindless weapon. This coming from the stuck-up loser who will make him into an emotionless price. Would not. Would too. 28 years these two have been rivals, and they still do this juvenile argument every time they are in the same meeting. Asuma and Hai weren't even this bad when they were actual children. I can't give either of them anything different than the other, unless I want to deal with a massive temper tantrum. Raising his voice above the arguing heads, Hiruzen soldiered on. Obviously neither of those can take him in, unless we want to sit through the other's filibuster. Would anyone else be willing? Abiram. Ino Shikacho. One of the lesser clans. RL. 506. Clan friend. The Abiram clan would gladly receive this new addition to our hive. RL. 707. Troubled child, but firm friend. It's obvious the boy belongs in the Yamanaka clan. His physical appearance would set him apart far too much otherwise. RL. 613. True friend. The Akamichi clan seconds the motion, and will assist in the rearing of the child. RL. 824. Troublesome. The Nara clan seconds. Kakashi RL. 3687. Adoptive brother shoved his way to the inner circle, and wailed no. I have to take care of him. He's Sensei's son. He's the only family I have left. I have to take care of him. He's Sensei's son. Madness broke out. Those who already knew his ancestry didn't have to pretend, and those who hadn't known were eager to get into the spirit. After all, who wouldn't take in the son of a cage with the power of a tailed beast, and already possessing more chakra than a genin despite just being born? If you people can't decide who is going to get Naruto, none of you will. All of you are prohibited from taking any favoritism pertaining to Naruto. You cannot treat him any different than any other orphan of his skills. And you, Haddock. You are not allowed to have any direct contact with him at all, for putting him at risk by revealing his father. Now, I will put him in an orphanage, and he will be raised like any other child. I will tell him of his burden when he reaches Genin, his parents when he reaches Chunin, and let him have his inheritance when he reaches. I'm going to call a gathering of the civilians to inform them of their new hero. I don't want any of you there corrupting the civilians to hate him just so you can try to get him for yourself. My word is law. Time skip. 1 hour. That could have gone better. Naruto's big reveal went over, as well as one of Jiraiya's books with Tsunade. That is to say, there was a massive amount of rage, and a few contemplations of murder. To be fair, I probably should have known, given the way the civilian council members reacted. Funny thing that hindsight is. I guess I'll have Hai's wife look after him until he can fend for himself in the orphanage. She already works at the orphanage, and does want to have a child. I wonder what a good name for a baby boy would be. Konohamaru. Sounds good. Easy to remember. Wait, what was I thinking about? Naruto, right. I was going for some ramen, I think. Hiruzen headed off to the miraculously still standing Ichiraku ramen, barely aware of the baby Naruto he was carrying. Time skip. 3 years. Naruto was dreaming, or perhaps seeing a memory in his sleep. He was watching his life pass in the third person. He was alone and cold. The only thing he wanted was for someone to reach out and show him even the slightest bit of care, of affection, of love. Then he reached the point where his other self saved his future girlfriend, and like a fire slowly growing into a blaze, he became aware that he was sitting next to his Hinata. She was hugging him and warming him. He felt warm for the first time, and he wanted more. He felt Hinata's body warm, as he continued the hug with a kiss that he saw couples do in the back alleys near his apartment. He felt himself giving off warmth to heat his love, and she heated more in an endless cycle of increased affection. The young god only wished to give more of whatever this was, and to receive more in return that he would reciprocate. Suddenly, when he reached the point when he saved Gaara from darkness, another heat appeared. This heat was different, but still felt just as good. He gave more to both. Then another flame when he learned the spiraling sphere, followed by another when he defended Tsunade, and still more at other points in his life. With each new signature, each different type, he felt the cold leave him, and he gave more, and more of whatever the feeling was to each, and every one of them. At last, he was not alone. He was not cold. He was happy. Then he woke to the sound of the orphanage head matron knocking down his door to kick him out. The last, technically first, 3 years of Naruto's redone life were surprisingly good for how terrible they were. The clans found clever ways to work around the ban of enticing Naruto. Once a month, the Akimichi had drawings to find one lucky orphan who would get to eat his or her meals with the Akimichi for the month, as well as receiving game lessons from the Nara for the older children. Naruto won exactly half of these drawings. This was especially appreciated by the 2-year-old boy when the only matron who actually took care of him left for maternity leave. The Yamanaka clan, as well, had taken an interest in caring for orphans, but the matrons often locked him in his room to prevent him from corrupting the noble clans, until the visiting clan members started asking for him by name. Every clan had taken to visiting the orphanage every month, often teaching the orphans something about being a ninja or playing a game with them. These simple games helped to fill out the missing base of his education left from early neglect and social isolation. Every clan joined in the trips to the orphanage, even working out a schedule. Every clan, that is, except for the Uchiha. The Uchiha had a much better plan for seducing Naruto to their clan. They used their position as the police force to take Naruto to their compound, due to the possibility of riots breaking out if he is seen unaccompanied on the streets. Not that the possibility of a riot was far from the truth, but it was far from their intentions. They would take him to their clan training grounds, so they could keep an eye on him, and would proceed to display their strongest members, in an attempt to awe the child. It probably would have worked, if the child was not really a god who had already surpassed any of them, but it was a good plan. The only part of the farce, which he finally recognized, as such thanks to Nara's training, which he enjoyed was the social with Sasuke that always concluded the visits, once both of them could talk. It was nice to see the one he saw, as a brother, even if the voice and manners were a little softer than he remembered. The only other memorable change from his first run was a strange pale-faced black-haired girl who always drew ink sketches of him, and looked unsettlingly familiar. However, it was not what changed that was concerning Naruto on his 3rd birthday. Rather, it was the fact that today was the day he was thrust out of the orphanage, and into the merciless arms of a disgruntled civilian population that was still furious at the Nine Tails. Despite the surprisingly minimal civilian casualties, he had to survive on hostile streets for 2 years before the Hokage found him, and gave him an apartment and an enrollment to the Ninja Academy. While being kicked out of the orphanage was unavoidable, our hero did plan to change the next 2 years. Right on schedule, the new head matron RL. Minus 99,999 of the orphanage broke the door to the attic room normally assigned to troublemakers. Alright, freak. You're old enough to take care of yourself from now on. And now that the Hokage's demon-loving daughter-in-law is gone, there is no one who opposes this. Now she tossed the depressed 3-year-old out of the window, and yelled after don't come back, and if you could die, it would be a great present from you to us. The now homeless child picked himself up, dusted himself off, and went to a training ground to practice his skills. Before taking more than 10 steps, Shinigami appeared in his human form from a black portal that emanated despair-filled screeching and shadowy hands. Hey there, newbie. How's your first avatar manifestation treating you? The only response was a glare. Don't be so hostile. If this is about taking your parents, just know that they are the reason I'm here for you today. I'm not mad about mom and dad asking you to check on me. No, fool. Their assistance with my paperwork problem freed me up to teach you the ropes of worlds of this type. You have mom and dad doing paperwork. Not just them. Anyone who dares to defy me or escape me with immortality is condemned to an endless hell of paperwork. You should have seen the face of your 3rd Hokage when I told him his fate. I only used that because I thought it would let me escape paperwork forever. Classic. You're a god, right? How can you have problems with paperwork? Who would you even need to do paperwork for? The afterlife is a complex and confusing place. I need to record the time of death, dimension of life, karma at time of death, a comprehensive list of significant deeds, punishment or reward, and time of reincarnation. All in triplicate. That's part of why I like you, kid. I'll even let you use my nickname Shin. At this he took Naruto onto his shoulders, and started walking to the outskirts of the village. When you didn't kill those people, you gave them time, made them reconsider their lives, often making them have one final act of redemption that gets them out of my hair years earlier, and almost always makes them more compliant. When they don't think that they are ready to die, or died unfairly, then they tend to clam up about their lives, and I have to pry, and it just becomes a big painful mess. That's why I seem like such a stoic to others. Tiredness and irritation. A good night's sleep can do wonders. Can I help? I want to figure out what I have to do, as a god. Definitely, kid. But you won't have to do any paperwork for your job, as a god. I am the god of death. You are the god of protection. I need to keep my realm organized on my own power. You just need to allow other realms to create order on their own without interference from the void, Tohu. Many times it will be like this, fixing the damage of time travel, interdimensional holes, and people trying to raise the dead. Other times it will be the destruction of a destabilizing factor, like the Uchiha. You rarely have to kill all of them. He whispered, wouldn't that make more paperwork for you? Ha ha ha. You're a good kid, but yes and no, respectively. You do have to kill them. Their eyes were a dark chaotic mutation. If they are allowed to remain, as a clan they will bring this world to ruin and void, regardless of your efforts. And for the second question, no, they all already died, along with almost everyone in this world, so the paperwork is already done. Plus, why wouldn't you want to get rid of them? In your original life they did you no favors, and Sasuke, the one that should have done the most for you, almost killed you multiple times. Just be done with it, and kill her. Her? The clan. Clans are referred to as females generally, right? Why did you pause? Oh, look. We're here. Let's only continue this conversation after you know what I mean. But, tutorials. The two gods were standing in the clearing where the fourth Hokage had fought Obito Uchiha. To a normal person it would seem like a normal grassy field with a large training crater, nothing too unusual for the Lear village. But to the two gods it seemed like a vandal had attacked reality. There were splotches in space where all colors reverted to negative, and places where reality had been crumpled or cut like a piece of paper. What in the name of chakra happened here? Understandably Naruto was slightly unnerved. That is what happens when time-space is disrupted without any limitation, we call them glitches. This is the chaos you will be fighting. These are the harbingers of the doom you have already seen. They are the visible face of the chaos you hold at bay. These are the clouds signaling the oncoming storm. They are the first mold of an infestation. They are the bad stench in the fridge. They are the ants in the picnic. They're bad. I get it. What do we need to do? No. You are going to fix them. And you aren't going to help. Nope, I'm the god of death, screw doing anything else. But I can teach you how to deal with them. You're lazier than Kakashi. I have some paperwork I could be doing while training you, if that would make you more comfortable. Go ahead, I'm feeling a bit nostalgic for Team 7. Then let's have a good spar. Shin pulled out a black book marked Book of the Dead Lesson 1. Basics. Red bars are healthy. Blue bar is chakra. Green bar is stamina, it appears when you tire yourself. There are numbers corresponding to each of these bars. Don't let any of them reach 0, that makes you die. Don't let them reach below 25 either. That makes you pass out. I only have 540 health and 750 chakra. And I pass out at 25. What is this crap? You're 3. That's past Chunin level. You haven't even trained. You have no right to complain. Well, it does make beating your ass for calling me lazy feel less like child abuse. Now, let's see how you can use your powers. The spar went better than you would expect for a child taking on a god. That is to say, Naruto only received the 1,000 years of death after a full minute of frantic dodging and paranoid turning. He stood again, made a shadow clone, noting the halving of his chakra, and tried again to the same effect, and only a quick substitution saved his ass. After receiving the remaining chakra from the shadow clone, he had just enough to summon another shadow clone to form a normal spiraling sphere. He charged for a final attack, but was stopped short. That's enough, you are Jonin level in technique, but you would get beaten by a genin with your physical stats. Now, to finish the tutorial, you probably noticed the 3 option tabs. The silhouette is your physical status. It lets you check your stats, choose titles and costumes, and equip any weapons or armor you want. To access it, just draw a simplified body with your first 2 fingers. A circle with a line underneath would do. The book is your knowledge. To access it, draw a square. The seal symbol is the real meat of the change. Try drawing a spiral, and we'll have ourselves a little trip. A few seconds later both of them were standing in a 4-way junction. Straight ahead was a dark tunnel, which Naruto recognized as his mindscape. On the right was a building that looked like a house crossed with a bridal shop. On the left was a set of open oak doors that opened to a small throne room. Behind them was a classic wooden door with a frosted glass window on the upper half. The final thing Naruto noticed before the official tour started was that rather than the child's body he had outside the mindscape, he was in the body that he wore when fighting Kaguya, if perhaps a bit taller. This is the junction of the joint mindscape. As gods, we are allowed to enter others' mindscapes to a limited degree depending on our relationship with the person. The one opposite yours is my office. The one on the right belongs to Megami, and the one on the left belongs to Yami. Why does Megani's mindscape look like a wedding shop? That is a long and sad story that involves both her and Yami, and they should be the ones to tell you. But what I can tell you is all that both of them really want is to be loved, they just go about it opposite ways. Megani thinks that giving her entire self to a man will make him love her the way she loves him. Yami, on the other hand, believes that all men are selfish, so she tries to change and rule them. I don't have the time or temperament to help either of them, but you may be the one they need. I don't think I can help them if what they want is love. I don't think I even know what it really is. That's a surprisingly deep thought coming from you. You'd be surprised how much your thought deepens after spending a few years as a baby again. But why do you say you don't know what love is? Does it have something to do with your mortal girlfriend you won't give up for a pair of literal goddesses willing to share? When I was doing the twin sage art, I could sense what Hinata was feeling to an extent. I felt such a nice heat, like the sun giving a hug on a peaceful summer day. If that is love, I have never been the recipient before or been given the chance to give it. Kid doesn't even realize that so many girls feel that for him. I don't know whether to be disappointed he doesn't realize or proud that he has so many admirers. Waxing is rather poetic, aren't we? My caretaker liked to read poetry, and I had way too much free time. Anyway, the tutorial. Right? This is the entrance to your mindscape, and it acts as a hub for a good number of things. Don't worry about time. When you enter here, time effectively stops outside. Now then, invite me in. You can come in, but how do you plan to show me around my own mind? I think you'll find that your mindscape is much more organized than the last time you visited. His mind was more organized, to an extent. However, in reality the only appreciable difference was the addition of signs marking the way to reach each destination, and a cleansing of the water. Apparently I am so lost in my own mind I need both a tour and guide signs. This tells me much about your confidence in me. I'm going to show you what you can do in each of the stations in your mind, smartass. The Divine View Room is on your left, the path marked with an eye. There you can find where glitches are on your map, as well as check your calendar for the dates of important possible events. The next event from now is the incident with the Cloud Ambassador and the Hyuga. This room is also the place where you can see the stability of the dimension. If the stability reaches 0, then the collapse will happen again. Moving on, the info room is further on the left, and marked with a scroll. There you can find more in-depth info about your status, level up, and invest skill points. What exactly do you mean by level up? It's a common feature in these worlds, but the rules are a little different each time. In this world, once you reach enough experience from defeating enemies or completing quests and missions. When you get enough experience, you get a boost to your stats corresponding to the title you have, get 1 stat point that you can use to raise 1 stat by 5%, and 1 skill point you can use to upgrade a skill. I think you have a level or 2 from those training sessions that you can spend later. For now I need to finish the rest of the tutorial. On the right is the practice room, marked with a dojo sign. There you can practice the execution of your skills. To raise the level of your skills you need to execute them in real life. All of the skills you have, which you haven't practiced, are at 50 out of 1000. When you learn new skills you need to get them to level 25 before you can execute them reliably. Then straight ahead will be the place where your mental roommates stay. You can catch up later, but for now come to the training room, and I'll teach you how to deal with those glitches. They went down the path to the right, and quickly arrived at a nice dojo with a bamboo mat floor, and scrolls lining the walls showing different skills, their levels, and a progress bar to the next level. In addition, there was a stable glitch on the guard wall, and an empty weapons rack clipping through the same wall. Good, there's a glitch, and a bug, as well for you to practice on. Now, you had some SEAL training with your godfather, so you should be able to do this. To take care of a glitch you need to isolate it with a sealing ray, then enter the glitch, and defeat the enemies that appear. That heals the damage, and the best part is that you can summon those enemies to practice against at any time. Then there are bugs. There are places where reality has been distorted in a way visible to civilians. It can manifest in events such as an object traveling through another with no effect to either, random floating objects, dead enemies fighting, or uncharacteristic behavior. To fix these bugs you need to use the debug sealing array. Doing this will fix the problem, and give you divinity, the measure of power for gods like us. Alright, now, glitch seal. The moment the seal had formed, the space of glitch formed into a sliding door with no wall. When Naruto stepped through the door he found himself standing on a platform floating in the middle of starry space. The frame of a man made of wires appeared, and ran at Naruto with intent to attack. When he tried to dodge the wireframe punch to the side, he found himself unable to leave the two-dimensional plane he started on for more than a second. What freak is happening? Shin's voice sounded. I forgot to mention, when you are in a glitch zone, you must obey the rules of the world that your enemy originates from. That would have been nice to know before I started fighting, Shin. Getting his feet back under him, the young man made a shadow clone, noting the absence of the chakra limit bar in the training room, and prepared for battle. The wireframe once again walked forwards, and punched. The blonde used the second of three-dimensional movement to dodge to the side, then follow up with a punch of his own. The wireframe creature right past the clone that was going to hit it back, and flew off the stage. After flying 100 feet off the stage, the construct exploded in a horizontal shaft of light. Before there was a chance to celebrate, 2 more of the wireframe creatures appeared. Both went for an attack, and each was sent to their off-stage exploding dooms. After those were destroyed, 3 appeared. Shadow clones were created to help the situation. Those 3 were quickly thrown off stage. 4 appeared. Quick work. 5 this time. They seem a little heavier. 6 now. The young sage created a spiraling sphere to destroy them faster. They seem smarter now, as well. How many of these things do I need to destroy? Now he had to take care not to be surrounded by enemies, even with his clones helping. I need some space so I can make a spiraling shuriken or some other variant. The wireframes were actually coordinating their attacks, and destroying his clones. That clone over there is free. Substitution. More clones were made to form the spiraling shuriken, and to buy time. The attack cleared away the wireframes, but left him on the edge, and vulnerable for when the next wave appeared. After 10 minutes, and over 150 of the wireframes destroyed, Naruto was finally hurled off the stage. The explosion was expected, somewhat, but the fact that the explosion was the opening of a portal to a black purgatory was less so, but the congratulations were not expected at all. Apparently, by defeating 50 of the enemies he unlocked training partner options. For defeating over 100 enemies he unlocked new background music. For defeating over 150 he unlocked other training exercises. After closing the third announcement, Naruto found himself back in front of the wall-less door in the training room of his mind. Shin was still there, leaning against the wall, and doing paperwork. What was your score? Know what, it doesn't matter, I don't have any point of comparison. I still remember when I made this secret training room. I wanted a place to unwind in my free time. Problem was I don't really have free time. So you can use it. So there was no way for me to clear this. It's impossible to heal this damage. Chill. That's not a real glitch. I made it to simulate one for your practice. A real glitch door will always be marked with a pentagram. You will be fine for the combat. The thing you really needed to practice was the seal array. And speaking of real glitches, let's leave, and you can take care of those glitches outside. Time skip 30 minutes, real world. The seal array was prepared, and the door to the glitch zone had materialized. It was a white oak door marked with a black star. Good luck. And Naruto had stepped through the door. He found himself in an endless green field, and in front of him was a strange slime creature. What in the world is this thing? Why is it smiling? I'm just glad that I can kill the unnerving thing. Now, why can't I move? Stupid otherworld logic. Naruto is facing a LV. 1 slime. Turn 1, you move. I can move. Can I only move on my turn? The child approached the smiling slime, and launched a punch to test his foe's defenses. The foe didn't even lose his smile, or move in any way until white numbers appeared above its head. Then the turns switched, and Naruto was forced to stand still, as a statue, as the slime attacked. This is a terrible way to fight. It makes no sense whatsoever. Who would actually fight like this? If I only get one attack, then I'd better make it count. Fortunately, it seems he won't do anything until I have finished my attack. He summoned a clone to make a big ball spiraling sphere. I only have the chakra to do this once right now, so it has to connect. He charged. The attack connected. However, instead of a number the word miss appeared. What? I miss, but I hit it right on. This world is ridiculous. The slime attacked again. Naruto attacked in return. Once again the slime attacked. The battle continued in a straight attack slugging match. The battle came to an unexpected, but much appreciated end when the additional lying critical hit appeared under the white numbers. Congratulations. You get 300 XP, 20 Ryo, 1 Divinity, 1 X, Chakra, Pill, 1 X, Health Pill. Level up. Level 5. Title. Savior of the World. Stats, STR plus 3, SPD plus 4, TGH plus 3, Agi plus 4, CHK plus 25, HP plus 10. Congratulations kid, you cleared one glitch. This calls for a present. He tossed 2 scrolls to the battered blonde, as the pentagram on the door turned gold. They contain the skills save and load. Save places a fixed point in all possible timelines. Load then allows you to return the world to that state, including any glitches or bugs that you may have fixed. Have fun. Also keep in mind that every glitch you clear increases the difficulty of the next one, so be ready. With those parting words the god disappeared, and Naruto turned to his training to be prepared to save his girlfriend. Naruto's stats. Health. 273 chakra. 834 chakra, control. 500. Strength. 27 speed. 38 toughness. 30 agility. 35. Social stats. Konoha civilian reputation, minus 9,380 Konoha clan reputation, 1,201 karma. 999,999. Hinata was dreaming, or perhaps seeing a memory in her sleep. She was sitting next to her love on a park bench, resting her head on his shoulder, and chatting. She loved him, and he loved her. There was a boy who could be her brother, and a girl who could only be her sister looking at her with approval. Everything was perfect. She knew it was a dream, but it made her feel so nice, confident even. Then she felt the heat of another body pressed against her Naruto. How nice that others were recognizing the value of Naruto. As long as she was with Naruto, and he was happy, she was happy. He was her knight in shining armor. More girls joined in, and she recognized her sister among them. How nice that they'd be able to bond this way. The lover certainly deserved all the love everyone could give him, love she herself would be more than willing to give. She reached over to pull him into a kiss, as her other hand reached down lower. Suddenly, she woke up to the feeling of bindings, and of being carried. When she opened her eyes, she realized that her dream had in fact not come true, but rather that she was being kidnapped. She tried to struggle or scream or do anything to attract attention and slow the kidnapper down, but all of her efforts only managed to annoy the man. Fortunately, that moment of annoyed distraction was just what a rescuer needed. With startling speed a figure emerged, wreathed in a golden ore, and moving with impossible speed. The figure stuck a spiraling sphere into the back of the man, breaking his spine. The figure was revealed as the young Naruto, using a variant of the nine-tailed chakra cloak with 9 nagatama around his neck, the seal, and running down his arms and legs, each colored for their respective, calling it the all-tails chakra cloak. It gave an even greater boost to his speed, enough to make his child body compete with his adult body, using the 9-tailed cloak. The downside was that the strain done to the body was increased exponentially. Ignoring his failing internal organs, Naruto caught Hinata RL 90,010 beloved before she fell to the ground and held her to his chest. "Are you alright, my little Hinata?" For the girl, her dream had come true. She began to rest her head against his shoulder when she noticed the blood. "You're hurt," she exclaimed, only now realizing the fact from the pleasurable haze of being in the presence of the god. Naruto leaned forwards and whispered into her ear, "Could you kiss it better, my princess?" She fainted. Dang. If she stayed awake we could have had our first kiss just like my parents. That, and the achievement. Armor, as clothing. Definitely yes. It's always about the achievements with you nowadays, isn't it? Well, I have something that you can do for some, or should I say someone, or maybe even some two. Matatabi the two-tails piped up in another of her attempts to overtly seduce her container. As he began to meditate to use load, he reminisced about the times he had been getting ready for this event. Flashback. October 11, 3 years after Nine-Tails' attack. The blonde sage had spent the last day training and figuring out what he was able to do and what was impossible because of his youth and chakra. All of the separate nature transformations from the tailed beasts were still viable, but using them to make a barrage was not. He could still do sage mode, complete with sensing, even without fusing with the Ma and Pa, which was fortunate because he found that he couldn't summon any toads. It seems that the contract was not renewed when he returned, even if he kept the ability to summon. It was strange that he wasn't pulled to the domain of the toads or whatever summoning clan he was compatible with, despite not technically having a contract. Maybe it has something to do with the piece of paper that appeared the first time he tried summoning, that simply said feature not yet implemented. However, he had much better luck with all of his others. Shadow clones still worked, and he had 9 shadow clones under the transformation technique, either reading up on important history and enemies or practicing his stealth skills. His substitution technique definitely still worked, but the surprising change was that his regular clones no longer looked completely dead. They were certainly not perfect, but for the first time he could actually make a semi-usable clone. Having chakra control is a wonderful thing. I don't lose massive amounts of chakra simply, and I might be able to pass the academy using real regular clones. Excited to find out what else changed or was added, Naruto went into his mindscape. What he found there would change his life forever. He discovered achievements. There were pages and pages of quests and missions, each with some type of reward. There were even stats for almost everything. The ones that were marked love slaves and times played above the more honest titles of girlfriends and times molested left little doubt in his mind who set the system up. Still, it was one of the best birthday presents he had ever received, even with the times rate counter. However, even that distraction didn't stop him from going to visit his internal friends. Leaving the ominous foreshadowing counter behind, he set off for the Gate of the Seal. Now, he wasn't an expert, but Naruto didn't think that the Gate of the Seal was supposed to look like a normal sliding door, with cutesy animals decorating it, especially since the piece of paper had changed to say "No boys allowed" in kanji. With except for Naruto scribbled onto the end in English. When said boy did enter, he was shocked to see all 9-tailed beasts were in the form of girls equal to his mindscape age, and they were all wearing revealing night clothes with their tails hanging out. The tailed beasts were having a slumber party in skimpy night clothes, and he was invited anytime. If I didn't know any better, I would think Pervy Sage had messed with the world as some kind of perverted birthday present. Maybe I should read some of his books. He is my godfather, and I may be able to see him soon. Kurama was the first one to notice him standing to the side doing his best to not ogle them, specifically her, since she had taken her appearance mostly from her previous container, plus fox ears, but complete with Kushina's favorite lingerie that said Foxy on the bottoms. He's so cute when he's trying not to be a pervert while people are seducing him. Ladies, our gracious host has arrived. What is going on here? Why are you all wearing only those? Actually, why are you all women? And why? He was cut off when he was pounced on by Matatabi. The cat girl started to rub her blue-haired cat ears on his hand until he started petting her himself. She arched her back, presenting her furry bikini-clad chest to her human. Her 2 tails started caressing his chest while she purred into her praise ear. Do you really want to know? After all, don't they say that curiosity killed the cat? Just relax and enjoy our present. Kurama approached to calm the confused blonde. We can all remember what you did for us in the original world, and since we're all together, we decided that we would all settle down with you. After all, we're together for the long term, so why not enjoy it with some good company? Do you all want this? Shikaku was the first to speak up, dancing over in a see-through tunic that showed off her tanned skin, and accentuated her blue highlighted tan hair, and offered the man of the room a drink from her gourd. After what you did for Gar, I would be crazy to not accept. Besides, she added, as she circled to the back of the young god, and began giving him a back massage, there's no way I would let the vixen keep you all to herself. The Sobu, easily identified by her spiky bed head and perpetual wink, reached out from the blankets, which were her only clothes, to hug Naruto's left arm to her chest, and sleepily murmured, Naruto is so nice. Son Goku strutted in her chainmail bikini showing off her Amazonian build, and took Naruto's right arm, and boasted, you are the strongest in the world, and I won't settle for second best. Kaguya pranced in her swimsuit to join at Naruto's right side, and added, thou art the only man I could ever give myself to, before massaging her man's right leg. Seiken rushed over to Naruto's other side, and started to massage his left leg, and added, you're the only one who can keep up with me. Jimei almost flew to her new container showing off her blue to green hair, and a special beetle-themed bikini, joined by an inverted beetle's horn of fabric. She added, I'm lucky to have met a guy like you, and together we'll be super lucky. Before she started to give a foot massage, Daisuke charged over to join her sisters, leaving her headphones behind. You are a great and faithful man, Uzumaki. I am glad to be with you. Then she, as well, contributed to the massage. You see kid, we all want you. So just relax. She started rubbing his head, and let us enjoy our present. 2 hours later. Times played. 9. The last 2 hours were the most relaxing and enjoyable of either of Naruto's lives. He didn't even care when they stripped him down to his boxers to continue the massage. Were he fully aware there would have been a few things that would have concerned him. Like, how all the girls seemed to derive more pleasure from giving the massage than he did in receiving it. Or maybe a few red flags would have been raised when he thoughtlessly granted their request to change the seal to allow them a link to his senses, rather than full access, and a limited use of adapted shadow clone bodies whenever they wished. The strange smell that always seemed to grow from Hinata whenever he was close, permeating the whole room, would be another question raiser. Unfortunately, he was just too comfortable to care, as he drifted into sleep. The tailed beasts were sprawled bonelessly on the floor around Naruto. Madatabi murmured sleepily to her sisters that deal was definitely worth it. We get these new forms, and get to experience the pleasure of whatever our little Pat does in his mindscape, as well as staying together with the option to expand, all for the price of joining the harem of a guy we all already want. No one would say no to that. Kurama added, we're safe. We're whole. We're together. Above all, we're free to do what we want, and experience what we want. I don't mind some mutual pleasure in exchange. Later. Naruto was dreaming, or perhaps seeing a memory in his sleep. He was sitting on a park bench with Hinata, both of them 16 years old. Seemingly out of the blue he blurted out, Hinata. You do know this isn't real, right? I know. But it's so nice. I want to stay like this forever. Why don't you make it real then, if you want it? I'm just concerned. What if you reject me? Hinata, I love you. You just need to work to make your dream a reality. Hinata hushed him with a quick kiss, then said, I love you, Naruto. I love you, Naruto. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then sayonara.